Hey, Charmaine, we are live. This is both of our first. No, you had a live already. Right?
Yes, I had a live. Yes, I
Yeah.
did have the live.
This
Yes.
is so neat. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Everyone, I'm Kobe Ellis. This is my channel. Thank you for joining us. And here's the lovely Charmaine Ashby. Thank you so
Hello,
much for coming.
everybody.
Introduce yourself for everybody, Charmaine.
Hi, my name is Charmaine Ashby. Welcome to Kobe's channel. My channel is called Lots. I am a marriage coach and now a corporate coach. I think I said that on one of my last
Wait, say the name of your channel again. I didn't hear it. I think.
Locks and Knots. And I think I spelled it wrong because I think it's LOCKS, but that's okay.
Oh,
Um, yes. And so my channel is the reason why I started it was because I had interlocking and I had knotted locks. And I know everybody was having this conversation around knotted locks. And I said, well, let me join the conversation. And so I started locks and knots. But I have also determined that we're going to be talking about other things too. So knots has a double entendre. It means knots in the hair and then not any of these kinds of conversations. We're going to talk about something totally different. So that's my channel. That's me.
all right. Thank you very much. I like your channel, by the way, and I'm happy that I found your channel. I was just actually looking for information on Melissa Blake's Knotted Locks. And I know that before I found Melissa Blake's Knotted Locks, I came across a few videos. There was this guy who talked about putting knots in your lock to make them stronger. And then he mentioned another woman's page where he saw it, and I went to her page. And this was long before I even fathomed that there would be a system. I was just looking for something to, I'm just trying to gather information before I did my own locks because I wanted to be able to troubleshoot,
Yes.
to do what was most healthy for my hair at all times. I wanted to know what was out there and be prepared.
Yes.
And so, in looking for information, I came upon the Knotted Locks brand, and just I check back every so often, and boom, there was your videos. And it was refreshing because of course, we had seen there were a couple other people out there who were hashtagging Knotted Locks, but it was all really negative and not from any experience at all. So here's a woman with experience knotting her locks, and so I dove right in to your page.
Well, let me tell you about that. So, I am 2 years and 9 months locked. And of
Hmm.
course, it didn't start out like this. It started out very thin, very sparse.
Hmm.
One of the things I was told was from my loctician is that you're not going to get any more hair. The hair is going to grow down the lock. That was from my sister loctician. I had a sister lock install back in
Hmm.
November of 2021. And so we were going along fine. I'm watching my hair as it's transitioning and as it's doing all these different things at the root. Because that was really what I was concerned about, the root and really the tips, because I got a lot of bunching. I got
Right.
bunching because my hair is kind of soft. And so no matter what I put on these ends, they seem to leave an indentation in the locks. And so
Hmm.
I just came to the conclusion that I'm going to live with the bunching and I'm not going to braid and band. Now, braid and band has a couple interesting reasons, at least in my hair, that it should be done because
Hmm.
it can unravel. And so I
Right.
was experiencing some unraveling, but for the most part, if after I if after I washed my hair, I did something with it, like I twisted. I couldn't braid it because
Hmm.
braiding was too much tension on my locks. And
Hmm.
so I would twist and then I would maybe roll the ends with a really soft silk roller. But during the washing process, no. And so I discovered that as long as I do something to the hair, as soon as I am finished washing my hair, then I would not have to worry about the bunching. But then the bunching made it look fuller at the end. So I didn't really mind the bunching. So anyway, so we're going on our journey, right?
Hmm.
And one day my loctician says to me, and this must have been the earlier part of the year, she says, Charmaine, you're going to be bald. And I was like, what? Gonna be bald. And she was looking, she was at this part of the hair, which I know is the thinnest part of my hair. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she kind of rolled back and said something else. I said, well, don't worry about it. We'll work on it or work with it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So at this time, she and I have been watching these knotted lock videos all year long.
Right.
And she was, right. And she was even willing to try to do it. But of course, she didn't have any experience in it. Mm-hmm. And so we're watching these knotted locks and how these knotted locks would help with thinning at the top and balding. And so I became intrigued. And so I think it was April, we were supposed to see each other. And she scheduled me 7 weeks out because we missed our appointment. And I'm like, 7 weeks? My hair can't go 7 weeks because, then I'm hanging on threads. And so it was at that point I had already had a backup. So here's something really important. I know you love your loctician. I know she's the bomb. Have a backup. Have somebody that you can go to in the event of an emergency. And that's what I did because I believe in a backup. So I had a backup, and that was Lady G. And so G came over. She knotted the top part of my hair without even me asking her. She had knotted this part, the crown part of my hair, some of the sides, some of the perimeters she knotted, and then the rest. And then even she knotted some of the back that she thought were weak and needed some additional attention. And then she interlocked the rest. And so, but before I met G, before I found out about G doing knotted locks, I was at the local thrift shop, and there was a young lady in there. She had really beautiful locks, and they had knots in them, and you could see them. They weren't like visible to make it unattractive, but you could definitely see they weren't like mine. Mm-hmm. And so I talked to her, and I said, oh, you have knots in your locks. And she says, yes, I do. And I've been doing it for 10 years. I said, well, what do you do? She said, I just play with it. She said, if I feel like it needs a knot, I just put a knot in it. I keep on going. And I said, okay. And so that's when I discovered that even though Melissa has a brand called Knotted Locks, and we're not taking anything away from that, this is not, we're not even discussing Melissa's brand because we don't have any experience in that. None of us have been trained in that. This is our own personal walk experience with knots in locks. And so, but it was at that point, and I believe it was divine. I believe everything that comes to me is divine from God. I realized that, okay, this is not new. This is not a new phenomenon that people have been putting knots in their locks. And so Jimmy, last time we were together, which was 2 weeks ago, I think, I can't remember, but the last time we had a retime.
When you did the live.
When I did the live, right? That would have been the third retime with G. And it was pretty exciting. We had a pretty exciting conversation. And so can I feel the knots? Yeah. And when the first time I felt them, I'm like, ooh, this is different because I'm so used to sister locks and my mind is conditioned. Sister locks. It was almost like a program. Sister locks, don't do this. Sister locks, can't do that. And so when I felt the knots the first time, I was like, I don't know. But after an hour, it was a moot issue. My hair was lifted first day. Usually when I would get
lifted as in with volume.
Yeah. Yeah. And usually, you get your first retie, it's all flat to your head and it's all going in one direction. Like that, north or south, and you can't figure out what to do with it for about a day or a week or whatever.
That's right, until you get something loose in it.
And I could switch it from side to side. It didn't make a difference. So
good. So I remember we were having a conversation. I was telling you, so I'm going to tell everybody else about my experience with putting knots in my hair. Like I added some knots on a few locks that felt like they were a little thin. At the onset of my install, I just felt a few and I said, well, let me just tie a knot right there because I remembered seeing it in the video and I tied a knot. And so y'all, I'm telling you, I kept going back and feeling the knot. It was 3 of them on this side. I kept going back and feeling those knots, and boy, that agitated the heck out of me. And I tried to knot twice in one place and made a knot on top of a knot. So it was big and I could feel it and it just stood out. And so before you knew it, I had just snapped those locks right off. So I have three over here that are very short, like this. I think, I'll take my headband. I don't want to mess up my head. Let me see if I can find one. Should I do that or no?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So um let's find one. Sometimes they're very easy to find. Oh, here's one right here. Can you see it? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me get it. Find it again. It's just this little piece. You see it there?
No, lay it against your hand.
There we go. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see it. So
Yes.
this, I have three of them in here like this, and they're short now, and that's because I took them off right at the knot. I was like, oh no, I don't want this, And then I started learning about, the knotted lock system, and that there was something out there. There was a whole system, and I'm looking at the pictures and everything. And so now that I know more about the knots, just through talking to you, watching your video, and talking to other people, I have a better understanding of what's going on in my head. So I have one back here in the back that I put a knot in, and I actually put two knots, and one was right on top of the other. And after what you told me, G said, to for what was that? She talked about just the other
Se-
day. Separating, yeah.
yes, separating
Separating.
locks.
I said, okay, so I think I did the right thing up here. I kind of played around and pressed it together, and I was able to slide those knots apart without
Yes.
damaging my hair. So it feels so much better there now. And to be completely honest with you, the feeling of the knot doesn't bother me. It's small enough that it's not so pronounced from my interlocking that it doesn't bother
Yes.
me. I think it was
Yes.
bothering me here because I was new to it, didn't understand what I was doing, or didn't know what to expect. I just wanted that spot to be stronger. And I had seen this guy tied a knot in that, and another woman tied a knot in. So yeah, it didn't feel like what I saw on their videos.
Yes.
And maybe
Yes.
that was the problem. I don't know. But now this one back here in the back feels just fine. I don't have a problem with it. And when I'm retying, I'm checking this and I'm like, oh, I don't need to retie this one yet. So there is
Yes.
something to it. Like it's not
Yes.
retied, and I've retied my whole head and I don't have to touch this one yet. It's really saying, oh, I don't need that. Oh, So I don't.
Listen, so I've had, this is my third retie, and
Mm-hmm.
the first knots that she put in, I can't feel them
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Right
Yeah.
now,
It's going away. Go ahead.
there are some knots, and this is what she told me, that she double
Mm-hmm.
knotted on purpose because the roots were so weak,
Oh.
and that is supposed to help the roots strengthen.
Mm-hmm.
And I did notice, as pretty as my hair was looking over the past year or so, as it was
Mm-hmm.
transitioning from one stage to another, and I got a lot of compliments. When it began to grow out, it was some of the roots were very weak,
Mm.
and I couldn't understand because I would feel it like
Weak from the knots?
no, we're going back to interlocking. I'm sorry, interlocking, which is another reason why I wanted to do this knotted locks thing, because I would feel a root that I knew was strong at one point. Now it's weak. Now all the locticians that we see on the internet tell us that's because of you. They say it's your body. They say it's the medicine you're taking. It's all you. It's never the loctician. It's never the loctician why you have a weak root when it used to be a strong root.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not true. I think Entoy did say, one time I heard Entoy say that you got to make sure you have a loctician that knows what they're doing. But
I
I
like
figured
that.
out on my own that the reason why I know that this lock here was a strong, nice, wavy root
Mhm.
Right from birth. And it's no longer a strong, nice, wavy root, is because maybe, possibly, and certainly not on purpose, but my loctician did not go through the middle of the root. And she went through, it wasn't an even going through the middle and going through the middle again. And as a result of it, when it grew out, of course, you have an opening there from the tool and from the interlocking. And if it's not through the middle, one side is going to be smaller than the other. And that's how the
Mhm.
hair's going to grow. And
And I
so,
told you, go ahead.
no, you go.
I told you I could feel that on some of the ones that I did myself because I'm a DIYer, y'all. And I can feel some of my locks. There's like a string or something that feels like it's wrapped around some of them. And that is that thin where I didn't go straight through the middle. I came a little closer over here. So this is going to be thin and it feels like a little string that's wrapped around. Yeah,
And
I
so, what
100%
does
feel
that
that.
tell us? It tells us that this is not a perfect system. This is a system. And again, I'm sure she didn't do it intentionally. She was
Hmm.
always she wasn't one of those ones that went really quickly on my head. She was very intentional about, this is my loctician now, intentional about making sure
Hmm.
she got every lock, and she really didn't care how long it take. Now, how long it took. Now, one of the things that always baffled my mind when I had locks
Hmm.
was how people were saying, I got about 400 locks, right?
Hmm.
How were people getting their locks done in 2 hours?
You
Now,
mean
my
the reties or the install?
the reties.
Uh-huh.
My loctician, and she was working steadily, and we talked and we jabbered, we ate, we had a good time.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say if we didn't do any of that, the very least it would take, if she just went in straight and just didn't do anything, and she hit every lock, the very least it would take would be 3 hours, and that's with her working at a very nice rate. But some people are saying that locticians are doing 2 hours or less, and it's not making sense to me. But what I'm finding out is they're not doing every lock. They're not doing every lock in some cases,
See, I
and
was
also
thinking it was just about the new growth. Maybe some people have a small amount, a large, and that may take long. They're not doing every lock.
they're not doing every lock. Now, in 4 weeks, in 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, I had at least 3/4 of an inch of new growth in the majority of my hair.
That's a
So
lot.
I came to learn that meant at least 2 turns at a
Hmm.
4 point rotation, right? At a four
Hmm.
point rotation. Most of the people that I have been talking to were getting a 2 or 3 point rotation. And if you got a half an inch of hair, you're going to have more turns than me. If I got two, you're going to have 3 or 4 just by virtue of
Right.
mathematics. Is that true?
Math. Yeah.
So, right? So, what I was learning, and here's another thing I learned, some people's locks were very, very thin, right?
Hmm.
Now, we were told that that's because of the kind of hair you have. But
Hmm.
what I've since learned, just from just observation, that 2 point, 3 point, 4 point rotation determines the look of the lock.
It
It
absolutely
determines
does.
the look of the
From the
lock.
very beginning, you can feel the difference. Before I started, I got a mannequin and I did 4, 3, and 2 points, and I did them in reverse and clockwise. And there's a different feel for each.
Absolutely. I mean,
The-
listen, it's common sense. If you have um, if you're creating a lock and
Mhm.
you are creating a lock in 2 directions, it's not going to be as thick as a lock that you're creating in 4 directions. It's
That's
just
right.
not going to happen because of simple. Listen, I'm not a mathematician, but I do love math.
Mhm.
It's simple mathematics. If you're creating a lock, I remember growing up, right? I don't know if you remember this, but growing up, we had these wires, right? And we
Mhm.
we would create these key rings with them. You remember they had different colors. They were flat. They were real. You remember that? You could make keychains with
That's
them,
right.
and you would do you would go this way, you could go this way, you would go this way, and you would fish it in that way. And that is an interlocking method, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you only use two of those wires, you're not going to get as thick of a chain as if you use four.
Mm-hmm. That's
You know,
right.
to me, and then a lot of people, they don't know. One of the things about my first loctician, who you got to look at that video, who abandoned me. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things she did say when everything was going great, she said, you have a 4-point rotation. So wherever you go, if you go to someone else, you make sure you tell them you have a 4-point rotation. Now, I've never been in sister lock school, so I don't know all the ins and outs of this rotation business. And I have heard just by being on the internet that sometimes a 2-point or a 3-point is necessary for the health of the
Mm-hmm.
hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying all this to say, right? There's so much we don't know sitting in the
Mm-hmm.
chair, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And we give over all of our trust,
Mm-hmm.
all of our common sense to our loctician and hope for the best. We don't ask any questions. We don't we should want to know, okay, if we hear, because the locticians, they love to talk, so they'll say, you know what, I'm going to do a 2-point, 1-point. You got to ask questions. Why? Why are we going from a 4-point to a 2-point or a 3-point? What's going on?
Right.
Are you seeing something in my hair? Do I need to change? Because at one point I was drinking Udo's Choice Oil. I would take a tablespoon, about 2 tablespoons a day, and it really did help with my hair growth.
Mm-hmm.
And my loctician at one point told me to stop taking it because I had that much new growth, and it was taking too long. She says, "You got to stop
Now,
drinking
what
that
was?
oil." It was called Udo's, UDO''S Choice Oil, and this is a rich blend of omegas 3, 6, and 9s. I've been taking it on and off for the past 20 years. I used to be vegan. That's another story. So as a vegan, that was one of the ways I got protein.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the oil is so rich. It's very, very expensive. You got to keep it in the refrigerator. You got to keep it in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But you can put it on your food, but you can't cook with it. I mean, you kill everything in it. And so I was taking that for a while. And then I got a little concerned about drinking oil because I still eat fried food. So I said, that might be too much for my heart. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped. But this is all the conversation that went on up until I met G, up until I started getting out at locks. And these are all the questions that I had. I think my loctician did a pretty fair job of telling me, answering questions for me. And sometimes she would bring in one of the brand representatives to check my hair out, to make sure everything was what it was supposed to be. But I tell you one thing I don't get as much of, and that's marrying at the roots. I don't get a lot of marrying at the roots now.
From the knots.
From the knots.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of marrying at the roots. And like for instance, from the last time I got it done, I can feel this knot, but I know that this is one of the ones she may have double knotted. So maybe I'll feel that for another turn, another month. But they go away.
Kind of like blends in with the seam of the lock. Just
as the hair is growing down the lock. In my case, my hair type, right? Because you see, I'm so sorry. You see Melissa Blake. It's almost like you can see every one of her knots. But that's her technique, right? That's what she's doing. But some of the other people's hair that she works on that you see examples of, you don't see that many knots.
Right.
So I think it really has a lot to do with your hair texture. Now, like G, she knots her locks. You don't see any knots at all.
Yeah, she took her hair down in the video. You couldn't see a thing. Yes.
It was beautiful. Now I tried it too. I said, you know what? It's my hair. I'm gonna try it. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried it here. Take my glasses. This is a what I call my lone knot because back in the day when I was
Mm-hmm.
wearing braids, the braid rubbed out. I had a swoop style, and it
Mm-hmm.
rubbed out all of this and never came
Yeah.
back,
Mm-hmm.
except for this area right here. So it seemed like it was a little weak. So I said, well, let me see. I mean, it's my hair. Let me put a knot in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a knot in it. And, the rest is history. I just put a knot in it. And this is my, I'll give you an example of what I did. Here's
Good.
here's a loop.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a, here's a short, or the end piece. I got all these colors on today, so you really can't see. And then you just take the knot and you fish it up to the root. You just fish it up. Just
Mm-hmm.
fish it up.
Yep, that's
Try to get
exactly
it
what I
exposed.
did.
That's you just fish it up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
now, is there a way to tie the knot so it goes to the left or to the right? I'm sure there is. But for me, that wasn't a concern. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what direction the knots went in.
Okay.
Because just wasn't.
So let's try addressing some of these questions that we have. Let me see. You said you tried tying your knots yourself. We uncovered some stuff. Here's one. I had a question about how do the knots feel in comparison to the rest of your lot. Yeah, tell me about that. The you were saying it feels kind of seamless after a while.
After a while, initially you feel the knot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a knot there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting too because some knots, and I guess it has to do with the number of follicles in each little square. Some knots are very, very small, right? And then some knots are a little larger than small. Some knots you can barely feel. Like, I know this is a new knot, and I can barely feel it, right? But then
Okay.
here's another new knot where G may have double knotted it for strength. I don't know. But here's another knot that I can feel. But even as I'm feeling it from the first time that I felt it until now, it doesn't feel the same. It feels like, oh, this is just going to blend in. It just feels like it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
one of those ones that blend in.
And I want to say that even in looking at your hair in comparison to Melissa Blake's, it does look different. And I think I made a post, I made a comment on a video one time saying that even when we're interlocking, everybody's hair looks different from one person to the next. It's about the
Absolutely.
texture of your hair and how small or how thick, things like that make a difference. So, and I hear somebody say, "Oh, Melissa Blake's hair, I don't like the way it looks. I don't like knotted locks." You got to go and look at the rest of the pictures and see that these
Yes.
people look different even on her advertisements. And
Yes.
then when G stepped up with her face to the camera and pulled her, I was like, "Oh my, that looks nothing like." And she said she had been knotting her hair a long time.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
G.
Yes.
So she's been knotting her hair a long time, and she has knots going all the way down. A lot of her strands, she has a lot of, and you cannot see that. So I do think that, when considering knots, knotting your hair, you should also know that just because it looks one way on someone else doesn't mean it's how it's going to look on you. Because it performs one way for someone else doesn't mean it's going to perform that way for you. But I think what I'm getting from even videos from my research is that knotting the locks does provide strength. Do you feel that way
I
now that
do.
your hair is not? Did you, okay?
I do. Absolutely. I feel like my roots
Oh, look at
have
that.
gotten
Mm-hmm.
stronger. And I also feel like my roots, I feel like I can handle oil at the roots better. What I
Mm-hmm.
was noticing with sister locks was that my roots were getting thin even from putting oil in it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were slipping out at the root. I don't know what the science behind it was, but they
Mm-hmm.
were getting thin. And it didn't happen every month, it just happened some months.
Mm-hmm.
But with knotted locks, oil is not an issue. Oil is only
So,
an issue. Oil becomes an issue for not the root, but for the length of the hair. Because what my hair is very curly. And so what I realize is that um, oil sometimes will cause slippage even after, even at this point in my hair. I'm not fully locked. It looks like I am, but I'm not. There's some locks that are fully locked, very tight. You can pull on them, tug on them, and they'll hold up. There are other locks that are very still, I can still feel the curls, you know, even though they look locked. And so I got to be
And how
real
long have
careful.
you been locked? How long have you?
2 years and 9 months.
2 years and 9 months.
Yes, 2 years and 9 months. And one of the things my first loctician told me was some people take 5 years, even 10 years to fully mature, to have a fully matured lock. And my hair, when I tell you my hair is not kinky, it's not kinky curly. It's curly.
Oh, wow.
And it's curly, but it's not curly like our South American brothers and sisters. It's not curly like that. But there is a definite curl pattern that's not kinky. That's all. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, I was
And
telling you, I think your hair is around 4A, maybe 3C or 4B, somewhere, a combination somewhere in there is what it looks like to me when you brought your face closer to the camera the last time we did, you know.
and it still feels like in some areas like cotton. And it's always had that cottony, soft feeling. And it still feels that way. But listen, I'm just happy to have some. I'm just happy to have some hair because most of the women in my family have thinning at the crown, at the sides, at the. I would love for my sides to come back, but if they never come back, you know, I'll just cover them, you know, and call it a day. But most of the women in my family have this issue.
Okay. All right. Let's go to another question. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Do you think you'll stick with knotting?
Yes, as not only am I going to stick with knotting and interlocking as a combination, because I don't think I'm ever going to do 100% either one anymore. I'm also going to learn how to do it myself. I want to do my own hair. I know one of the people who had commented on one of my videos said that, you know, she has trouble holding her hand up, you know, to do her own hair. And I certainly understand and respect that. And so what I do is when the little ones that I've tried, I don't do them sitting upright. I do them bent over so that my arms are resting. So the 2 or 3 that I've done, I just lean over my knees, and it's a big difference than holding your hands up like this versus holding your hands up parallel to your knees. So that
Let me
might
show
be
you. Let me show you what I do.
okay.
When I get tired, sometimes I'm sitting in my bed and I have a pillow that I put on my knee and do it with. So I'm going to simulate using this. Real talk. Make sure that don't fall. Just like this.
Yes.
And I can work just like this. My hands, both of them don't get tired at the same time, but if they did, I could have something else over here and I'm working. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? There's a prop and I'm good.
So, and you need that. You need that if you're considering doing this yourself. And I am. I wanna.
Hey there, Dana. Go ahead.
Hey, I don't necessarily want to stop seeing a loctician. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to have the option to be able to do my own hair when I want to. Now, one of the things I'm realizing about the perimeter of my hair, there's a very different texture hair. My hair is already soft, and the perimeter is super soft. And so if I don't do something, if I don't learn how to do something, then I've got to see a loctician within 4 weeks, because around 4 weeks, they're really getting very thin and very, you know, stringy. So if I don't learn how to tie a knot or do interlocking, at least on my edges, then I got to see somebody in 4 weeks. If I could take care of my own edges, I could wait 6, maybe 7 weeks. I think last time I waited 7 weeks. But I can do that myself. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's my goal, to take baby steps. First,
Mm-hmm.
start taking care of my own edges,
Mm-hmm.
especially the nape, which is that's a really soft area.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just ensuring that I'm going through my locks, pulling them apart so that, I can wait a little longer
Mm-hmm.
than I
Okay.
have waited in the past.
So let me tell you, you were saying you're going to learn to do it yourself, right? And I have one of the viewers, Dana. That's my girlfriend. She's in. Thanks for joining us, Dana. But Dana's saying that her stylist is going on maternity leave soon,
Mm.
and so she's going to have that. And I think let me get into that real quick and say that not only do I think it's important that you learn how to do your hair, whether you want to do your hair or not, but it gives you the opportunity to learn the landscape of your head.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so you can talk to any other stylist about, hey, I have this going on over here. So when you get here, I want you to do this in this section. It's not
Yes.
a problem. This is what I'm doing here. You know, that type of thing. And
I love that.
so yeah, it helps a lot when, and in addition to that, knowing the landscape of your hair also gives you the opportunity when you're sitting in a chair to observe without actually looking, because you can feel
Yes.
what's going on. You know what's happening. I know she messing with that lock right there. I know I have some. Okay, baby, this is what you do right here. I can
Yes.
tell her, because I know that type of thing. Or if I say I want 4-point rotation and she's doing 2, I can feel that because I know what 4-point rotation feels like.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. So
How?
Dana, let me see. She said something else here. I am clueless when it comes to my edges. Help. I don't want to trust anyone else, so this is very helpful. Great, Dana. Okay, I don't have any advice for edges other than the products that I use, which is I put it in this container here, but this is Hollywood Hair Bar. So, but Dana doesn't have any of her edges coming out. I think maybe Dana's talking about Dana has hair that comes out of her locks. I've seen that on some videos where people's hair just won't stay inside the locks. She has like
Well,
extremely strong hair. She styles back a lot, and I mean, I watch it because I've been watching her for months. She does a live on TikTok every morning, 7 o'clock, and her edges are like there.
I'm gonna tell you what G said, because her
Mm-hmm.
has. If you go back to my video, G has her edges are out too, and she
Mm-hmm.
leaves them. Sometimes she said if they get too unruly, she
Mm-hmm.
will put them in, in those lots. But generally, she leaves them. So she has about a half inch,
Mm-hmm.
at least, of like hair going around framing her face.
Mm.
She leaves them. She said
Okay.
it's the way it grows, and she said that's one of the reasons why she thinks she still has edges, because she doesn't play
Do
with them. Now,
anything
if
to
they grow too long, then she'll feed them in. She said, but she leaves them.
Yeah, Dana said she's starting to leave hers. She said, I think what she's saying is that hers may be unruly, so she needs a product
Oh, I
that
see.
works on the edges. Yeah, I ain't got nothing for. Oh, but let me say this: Hollywood Hair Bar has an edge product that they say grows your hair, um, and it's an edge tamer. So yeah,
Oh, I'll be
all right.
interested to find out about that.
I know, right? Like I said I would try it, but I haven't gotten to a stage where I do anything with my edges. Whatever they doing, it's what they're gonna do. Like I really do not spend any time trying to lay them down,
Me
swoop
either.
them. When I pull it back in a hairstyle, baby, whatever is there,
Yeah, me
it's just
too.
there. Cause yeah, I've tried so
I
many different edge tamer products that never work, or a combination of this type of gel and the edge tamer and a little bit of water that works for a little while, and I see women with straighter hair than mine, where the curls are looser than mine and
yeah,
something kinky, and they say, this works. Like that product they have, and you rub your finger like this up and down, and the edges don't move. You never
I
seen
don't
that?
know.
Oh
No.
man, that's the hot stuff right there. The objective is to get a product that you can rub your fingers on and your edges don't move,
Mm-mm.
and you are locked in for the day. Not her, not her.
Yeah,
My
mine
edges
is.
is like, baby, you can stop with all that because we finna curl up out of here.
Yeah, mine too. I was using a product called Gen Us,
Hmm.
Genus, and I liked it, but at the end of the day, I'm really concerned about clogging up my pores.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what my concern is, clogging up my pores because I have had
Hmm.
edge problems in the past. And so right now I just try to, and because my hair, can hide it, and I very rarely wear up. That's not kind of like my thing. But even if I did, it would still have bangs. I'm a bang girl, so I don't think my edges are ever going. I'm just trying to keep them from being gray.
Okay. Okay, next question. Coloring knots. Oh, I wanted to cover this. Before we get to that, how long have you been knotting?
3 months. I don't want to say 3 months. This is my
Three
third
retimes.
retie.
Mm-hmm. With knots. Okay.
Hmm.
So I asked Melissa Blake about coloring with her system, knotted locks. And I asked her that because I am that woman who colors her hair. Like, they have this rule that I heard so much in all the lock groups and on videos where, stylists and other people who think they know everything are saying you can't color your hair for a year. You cannot color your hair. It's going to damage this, blah, blah, blah. Girl, that's all crap. Now, I can see bleaching. I don't care where you are in whatever hair journey you're on, bleaching can cause problems. I just saw a video the other day where a girl bleached her locks, and she had extensions, and she's in the shower. It's a video that's going around like crazy now, and she's pulling her hair and they're coming right out. And I can't help but think that that has something to do with bleaching her hair blonde
Yes.
like she
Yes.
did. So, um, because I've been in the hair business so long, I know that black hair doesn't really require bleach to lift. Now, if you want to
Mm.
go blonde, then yeah, you got to put some bleach in there. But to deposit color the way I do, I just use a 20 volume on my hair most of the time. If I need it to be a little lighter, then I go to a 30 volume, but I'm not leaving it on for a long period of time. All we
Mm.
need is just that agent, the peroxide agent, instead of, because you remember, I don't know if you ever did, but when I was a child, coloring hair was something I not something I could afford. It's not something I could do on my own. But there were other girls in school, in high school especially, who could. We just sprayed Sun-In on your hair or peroxide in
Mm.
your hair, and it turned colors. I mean, it just lightened up, right? And
Wow.
I want to promise you this: the best, the best color product I ever had in my entire life, and I'm 52, and it stayed the longest, and it did not fade to another color. Like, I know that this red is going to fade to brown.
Okay.
Don't judge me. Don't nobody judge me.
Okay. I promise I won't.
Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid.
I heard about Kool
I am
Aid.
not lying to you.
I heard about Kool Aid. I heard. Yes. I heard
I
that
was
Kool Aid
women
worked for
raised
hair.
in
I
high
didn't believe
school, and
it.
we were all putting Kool-Aid in our hair. I'm not. My mom was like, "What in all hell?" Kool-Aid, baby. And it stayed for years. That Kool-Aid was in my hair. I'm not
What?
lying. So anyway, let me get back to this.
Wait a minute, what color did you do with Kool Aid?
Girl, you mix red and blue, and it gives like this nice little 99J color. And orange. Orange gave me a pretty little tint on my baby. And that
Wow.
stuff stayed. It stayed. I'm not lying. So, but anyway, I asked Melissa Blake about coloring with knotted locks, her system. And she said it's just fine. You color your hair with knotted locks like you would color any other hair. Because my concern was, will it get, the product get wrapped up in the knots
And break
and
them
you have
off.
a problem in there, right? Because if so, that's a reason for me not to ever put knots in my hair, especially a system that puts knots on top of knots on top of knots, because that is a concern for me. What's going to happen when I color? Because we know that locks, you know, product gets caught up inside the locks. and I didn't want that. And she
Yes.
said, no, you shampoo your hair and color your hair the same, the very same as you would do any other locking system.
Okay. Okay.
So I know that when I color my hair now, I wait a couple days and then I go back and I clarify shampoo with the understanding that I'm going to lose more of my color when I use clarifying shampoo than I would if I use a color safe shampoo, or
Sure. Sure.
the shampoo is made for coloring your hair so it don't take out so much of your color. But I go back with clarifying shampoo. So I think
Mm.
that I'll always do that, and especially when I have knots in my life, because I full well intend to try knotting my hair. Which brings me back to a question I wanted to ask you. I'm so grateful that I was able to get back to this. You say that you knot and interlock. Explain that, because what I'm
Well,
thinking is you got a knot and then you interlock on top of it, and then
that's
another knot
exactly.
the next time. Okay, go ahead.
So what G does, my loctician,
Hmm.
she, based on what she feels the hair needs, she may lock twice on the same lock, or she may lock and then interlock and then lock again.
Hmm.
I'm
Interlock
sorry.
in the next session, you
Not,
mean?
yes. So let's think of 3 sessions, right?
Hmm.
So first session, she may do some knotted locks. Then
Hmm.
she will next session do some interlocks,
Hmm.
or she may do knotted locks again on that same lock.
Uh-huh.
Um, or the third session comes along, she may do 3 knots on that same lock, or she may do interlocking. It's
Hmm.
all about what she feels the hair needs. I don't know what her method of determining a knot versus a lock. Um, I know one of my requests was, because I know I have thinning in the crown, is that the crown be knotted.
Hmm.
And so far so good.
So she
So
only knots in your crown?
no, she knots in various places throughout the head. But I have requested that this not be as much
Interlock.
interlocking as she would do
Yes.
somewhere else. That it
Okay.
would be knots. But I did want
Okay.
to add something about the hair coloring. Now I don't lift in terms of another color. I'm terrified of it because of the texture of my hair and
Hmm.
how I've seen my hair perform in the past. My hair doesn't. I had it dyed red once, but it was natural. It wasn't locked, and
Right.
it did not. It I just felt like my hair didn't hold it well, and so I
Hmm.
asked G what she recommended. So she gave me 2 products. One was Garnier
Hmm.
Nutrice, and the other was a product at found at Whole Foods, which I cannot remember the name of it, but they don't
Hmm.
have a lot. I mean, everything there is natural, and so the one I used was Garnier Olea, and it's
Hmm.
60% oil. And
Hmm.
that's why I chose it. It was 60% oil. That's what it says on the box. And I didn't wash my hair for 2 weeks. I put it in. I used the Color Safe conditioner. And I have not, well, I can't say I have not, because this was a while ago. I did not wash my hair for 2 weeks. I
Hmm.
didn't have any problems. My hair always felt nice, and my locks never felt dry, which was a concern. That's the concern, that they get so dry that they begin to break off. And so that did not happen. Thank God that did not happen. I was
Yeah.
concerned about that. Um, but if I ever decide to, or I'm going to say when, because I don't want gray. I'm
Hmm.
60. I should probably want to have gray, but I don't want gray.
Hmm.
And so if I when I decide to do it again, which will probably be because of the locks, and being tied and knotted and interlocked, the gray's not coming in as quickly.
Hmm.
I'm going to go back to Garnier Olea. It's a great product. If it has if it's true, like it says, that 60% oil, it's one of the best products you can put in your hair.
Oh, well, thank you for that information. That's really good. I have access to professional products, but I don't know if there's anything in the professional product lines that have that much oil in it. But I shoot, and especially because I'm a person who does not shy away from oil. I mean, from the very beginning, for my first install and my second install, I was still using my Hollywood hair bar oil every day because that's how Hollywood hair bar tells you to use it. And I did get really good results.
Wow.
So and so I'm still using it. It's like they're on my refill. Like I don't run out of this hair growth oil and I put it in my hair. I've now kind of slowed down from twice a day to once a day, but I
Wow.
still get it in. It's part of like my morning routine or my evening routine. I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna oil my scalp before I put it. And knowing full well that the lock community says oiling your hair so much is not good for your locks and blah blah blah. Well, because I'm a DIYer, if I experience slippage, I can tighten it up on
Okay.
the spot. I don't have to wait. And if
Right.
it's impeding my locking process, I'm okay with that too. I got nothing but time, and I'm along for the ride
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to do what helps my scalp. Now,
And your hair is
before I
beautiful.
got locks, I didn't oil my hair. We stopped that years ago. I ain't gonna get no blue magic and all that kind of stuff. That was so long ago. But now that I have locks, I found
Mm-hmm.
that my hair is drier and I need to oil. So I do that.
Yes. And
Hmm.
your hair is beautiful too, I might add.
And so is yours. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait. I don't
Thank you.
care if mine don't lock up either. I want it to grow long. I love that
Yes.
look.
It's been a
Hmm.
long time coming, but I just try to enjoy every stage of it. I try
Hmm.
to enjoy every stage. I mean, there was a stage where my ends were curly; they were just so curly, and
Hmm.
um, and that was cute. And then they weren't curly anymore. And
Hmm.
I heard some people comb out their ends so that they'll remain curly, but I
Remain
can't go through
curly.
all that. I can't do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let it go how it go.
But I think the key, excuse me, I think the key to this whole thing is remembering everybody has a different type texture, and
Hmm.
there's no one solution that's going to fit everybody.
Right.
Um, Even your hair, Kobe, looks thicker than mine. That because I know what my hair really looks like under this. You guys see this and you say, oh, this is thick, this is thick. But if you saw from the beginning, you would see that
Hmm.
it really isn't that thick. And so everybody just has to take into consideration. Don't be afraid of your hair. Touch your
Hmm.
hair, feel your hair, play with your hair, and explore.
Hmm.
Explore.
Okay. So here comes this big question that's just burning for me, and I'm gonna ask if you want to talk about it, and if you don't, we can move right on.
Okay.
Oh, girl, look, we passed the hour.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The Melissa Blake Tanisha thing.
You know, I
Wait,
thought,
before we get started, I want to make a disclaimer to everybody who views this video. We are not advocating, as Charmaine said earlier, we are not advocating or trying to harm a brand or anything like that at all when it comes to Melissa Blake or Tanisha Ali or anyone else out there. Because, like we mentioned in Toy, and we love in Toy, like I
yes.
watch her stuff all the time, but I did not agree with her video on Knotted Locks at all. But
Well,
that
you know
girl
what?
has
Let me
been through
just
so much.
chime in on that. I felt like she was trying to figure it out. She didn't
Hmm.
know, and she didn't have good subjects because she was using wig heads, and it
Hmm.
was a conversation. It was a conversation,
Well,
and
I felt like, go ahead.
I think that it was. I think that because she didn't have good wig heads, that really represented natural hair. Um, the test that she was doing, it wasn't going to come out right because she didn't
Hmm.
have good subjects.
Hmm.
She was trying to do an experiment to see if this knotted lock, as much as she understood about it,
Mm-hmm.
if this knotted lock technique would work. But
Mm-hmm.
she didn't have good foundation for this experiment.
Right.
So quite naturally, she couldn't get good results.
Uh-huh. Hey, Barbara Lynn, thank you so much for joining my live. Um, okay, I felt like she may have asked for training, or somehow or another she figured out that Melissa Blake wouldn't train her. So that bothered her because she mentioned it several times in the video that she doesn't train professionals. And although she said several times, I'm not a professional in this arena, I don't know anything about this, I haven't been trained, blah, 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 but I don't think this is a good, you know, because she was specifically talking about knotted locks, not putting knots in your hair, but she was talking about the knotted lock process, the
Process.
brand
Mhm.
itself. I felt like she was out of line because she hadn't been trained.
Mhm.
And so she doesn't know what Melissa's system is like at all. So it was improper for her to say knotted locks doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's not healthy for the hair. She was out of line for that because she doesn't know Melissa's process. And people are somehow falling into this gray area and saying, this is what knots in your locks will do, and tying it into the knotted lock brand. And that's just improper because we don't know what her system is until you train with her. So you don't know how your hair will perform using knotted locks. Um, and I think there's a difference between knotted locks and knotting your hair, putting knots in your hair. Like, for instance, how you knot and then uh, interlock and not an interlock, how that happens. That's not what Melissa's process is. Melissa's process is one knot, one knot, one knot, one knot, which is what's happening in the top of your hair, right? Because
Some
she's
yes, for the most part,
right,
yes. For the most part, yes. Hmm.
right. So if it's working for you, then therein lies part of a debunk for people who say, oh, that's not healthy for the hair. Because here we have a woman online who gets her hair knotted and she's saying it works. So if you can separate, if people can compartmentalize when they make video reviews, if they can compartmentalize, this is what I'm doing versus this is what Melissa Blake is, and clearly say this is not the knotted locks brand, or this is not representative of the knotted locks brand, or this is not her technique, then that makes sense to do your video. But outside of that, it's a little rough. And I think with going to Tanisha Ali, I say to everybody just this one thing that I said in another video, and I've made this comment on people's posts, videos. If it doesn't work, and so we know that Tanisha Ali is well versed in social media and how to make things work. You can tell it in her tone that she uses when she's talking, in her videos, everything. She wants you to believe in her, like we all do pretty much. Um, but after just 1 year of knotting her hair, she's now teaching. I don't stand to say that what she did is right at all, but I'm saying she sees enough in this brand to say, let me grab this. This woman ain't doing right over here with, safeguarding her stuff. So I'm gonna be the first to grab it. Like, I know somebody gonna grab it because Melissa is not covering her behind. So I'm gonna grab it. At any rate, she has decided that there's enough in this knotting of the hair that I believe in. And so I'm going to capitalize on it. And so I say that to say to everybody who has a negative opinion and you haven't tried it, here is a woman on this live that's saying, I've tried it and it's working for me, and then you have another woman
Well,
who's saying
well,
I've tried it, it's
well,
working
we
for
got
me.
to we got to also say though, I've
Mhm.
tried knots and locks.
Right,
Haven't
not
tried
not
Melissa.
at lots.
Have not tried knot and locks
Right,
because that's Melissa's brand. We have tried
right.
knots and locks, and that
So
is
what I'm
working for us.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is these other women who are talking about it, they're just showing like in Toy just showed knots in locks. She didn't show knotted
Okay,
locks. And she's saying that it's not sustainable.
that's correct.
But here
That's
you
correct.
are, a person with it, and it's sustaining. And then we have
Yes,
Tanisha
I
Ali
believe it
with
is.
the system and is saying, I'm gonna take this system. So
Well,
there's
she
something
has
to
she.
be said.
So this is a very for me this is a very touchy situation,
Oh,
and only because we heard Melissa talk about what transpired. Um, we hear her pain, we hear her
yeah,
anguish, um, but there's still nuances of relationships that we don't have any knowledge of, right?
that's right. Oh,
I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not taking Melissa's side. I'm not taking
right.
Tanisha's side. There are nuances of relationships that happen in relationships that we just cannot we can't take into consideration because we don't know them.
Hmm.
We hear what happened, um, and I think it's a tragedy. I think it's a tragedy that it happened that these two women had this falling out for whatever reasons, but it has happened, and everybody's got to move on from this point. I It's my personal opinion that I think that Melissa should be teaching DIYers because it gives them an opportunity to also earn an income. And so she could have created and still can, I believe. And I was thinking about this the other day. She can create a community of professionals. She can use the model that the Sister Lock brand used, Joanne Cornwall, which was an excellent model. She can use that business model and create a, a registry of professional knotted lockers. She could
That's
do
right.
that. This is a whole nother level of income. This is a whole nother level of professionalism where you're meeting with your professionals every month. You're making sure that if there are people having problems, you're troubleshooting those problems. So, and then you have another group of DIYers. Here's the bottom line: everybody's not going to be a DIYer. That's just
That's
not going to
right.
happen.
That's
You
right.
know, and I think one of the problems both of these ladies are having is they're making this spiritual, and they're making it spiritual, and
High
they're
five.
not keeping in mind the business. This is not
High
about
five.
the ancestors. This is not about that. This is not about Egypt. This is
I'm
about
stepping off from the screen for
a
just a second.
business.
Keep talking. Keep talking. Go ahead.
This is about a business. This is about making money. This is about adding value to the people that you're working with. This is about a message. And this is what I always say, even
Right.
in my own business. It's about message over money. Money comes. If
Right.
you get the right message, money comes. But then when you try to add all this other level of spirituality and all of this stuff, I think it confuses people. I know it's confused me
Right.
because listen, this is hair, okay? And hair falls out in many cases when we're young. Anyway, it
Mm-hmm.
grows back. This is
Mm-hmm.
hair. This is not brain surgery. It is hair, and there can be a whole other conversation around hair, and everybody can dip out of the bucket, the money bucket, because there's a
Right.
bucket of money out there and
Mm-hmm.
everybody can have a piece of it. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. When you go into business and you don't have a business model, you need
Mm-hmm.
a business model. You need a message, you need a tagline, you need marketing, you need all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say this is what I will say. It appears that Tunisia has a more solid business model. Ain't got nothing to
That's
do with
right.
the color of skin. I heard, excuse me, there was some mention about her. She's very beautiful, but so is
Mhm.
Melissa, right?
Mhm.
They're both very beautiful black women. But
That's
see,
right.
if your idea of beauty is Egypt, right? You and fairer skin and pretty, make up the eyes or whatever, then yeah, you might say that that Tunisia is more beautiful than Melissa. But we
Mhm.
beyond that. We beyond
Yes.
we women of color should be beyond seeing beauty through the eyes of our European colonizers. Okay, that is not how we see beauty. That's not beauty. Beauty is the color, the richness of our skin. And not just that, the richness of our character. You
That's
can be
right.
beautiful and be a horrible person. So talking about skin color, I think is a problem, number one. And
Mhm.
I did hear it mentioned in the conversations that was happening.
Melissa mentioned it in her video. In one of her
I didn't
videos, she
want to
said
say,
that.
I didn't want to say, but I
Yeah.
just think it's a problem. It is a
Mhm.
problem when we as black women start talking about people's skin color as
Mhm.
black women.
Because people gonna take it and run with it, and
Take
that's
it
what
and
happened.
run with
I
it.
don't even think that she meant it the way that
No, she didn't.
she delivered it at
Exactly, she
all.
didn't. She didn't.
But boy, I
It makes
mean,
you
you don't
sound
need to
bitter.
walk that back. Hmm.
It makes you sound bitter. It makes you sound
Yes,
jealous. It makes you sound
yes.
angry. When
Hmm.
here's the thing. Here's the key. Melissa Blake, this is her brand. She's holding all the keys. Tunisia is doing whatever Tunisia is doing.
Hmm.
Melissa Blake is holding the keys, but she does not have, in my opinion, Melissa, in my opinion, and I always like to say this about
I
my
think I'm
opinion.
about to agree with you too.
I could
Go.
be wrong. I could be
I'm
wrong.
thinking you're not.
It doesn't appear that you have a good business model. You
Right.
keep coming online talking about what you don't do, what you can't do. You're not social media, and somebody else is. And da, da, da. If it ain't you, then get somebody who can do it.
Do it
Don't
for
keep
you
saying
because
what
it
you
has to
can't
be
do.
done. This is the environment that we're in.
Hire somebody. Now, like for
Hmm.
me, for instance, I'm having a hard time managing my calendar. I've lost so many clients as a result of it. So I had to hire a virtual assistant. So
Right.
I get a reminder every morning of what's on my calendar.
Hmm.
You got to figure out what your business needs and stop talking about what it doesn't have and get it. If you need a
Get it.
video, if you need a marketer, if you need a social media uh, content creator, we're all out here for you. But you got to pay us and you got to put it into your business model. And this is what Tunisia and some of the other people have done. Now, I
Hmm.
want to talk about another young lady who I love, Kendrick Kinshay. I don't know if y'all know her.
Yes, I
First of
do.
all, she has another grade of hair. First of all, she
Mhm.
got a hair like Tunisia. Her hair reminds me
No.
of Tunisia's. Right? She can do all. She can flip, turn around, stand on her head. She can do everything with her hair. And let
Yes.
me tell you something. That girl got some of the most beautiful hair and
Hmm.
hairstyles that you ever want to see. And
Hmm.
even in toy, I love the fact that she keeps her hair bobbed. Right? I love that. She says, "Listen, I
Hmm.
know my ends are going to unravel, but she's a loctician. She can deal with it. But she likes
Hmm.
to keep her hair in a box. There's so many women out here that are doing goddess locks, right? Another one, beautiful, long, beautiful. She don't have hair like mine. She got hair like
Hmm.
Tanisha's and Kenshay's, Kendra's. But these women are doing beautiful things. If we waste our time, if we waste our time bringing each other down, we're never
Hmm.
going to get to where we want to be,
Right.
right? We're never going to get there. And
Right.
it's one thing to ask questions. It's one thing to have a conversation about processes and say, hey, Melissa, why aren't you teaching professionals? Yeah, that's okay. That doesn't take anything away from her as a person, as a woman, as her character. We've got to make sure that in this natural hair world,
Hmm.
that we're not just trying to get clicks,
Right.
that we are actually adding to the conversation.
Hmm.
We got to add to this conversation. Melissa, you need to start teaching professionals, and you need a business model for that. If it's a monthly fee or weekly fee that
Mhm.
you want to do, whatever it is you want to do it. Get it out there. Don't
Mhm.
just limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to just a DIY. Expand the business.
I think, like you mentioned a
That's just
while
my two cents.
ago in one of our conversations, that Tanisha has now forced Melissa's hand. She has now put Melissa in a different space. Maybe it's uncomfortable for Melissa, but she's going to have to adapt to this new space and
Absolutely.
realize that if she does not adapt, she will not be the owner of her brand for long. She will not. Somebody's going to
She'll
take.
own it. She won't have the presence. She
No,
won't have
no,
the
no.
presence. She won't
She
have the
doesn't
face.
even have a patent for her name. So it can be
I think she
taken.
says she's working on that stuff now.
She
I think
should.
she's working on it.
She absolutely
I think
should.
she says she's working.
I think that for as much as she may have had all this conflict with Dr. Cornwall, like you said, she needs to go back to what she knows, even if she didn't like it then and doesn't like it now. To protect yourself is to do exactly what Cornwall did
She had a business model. She had a wonderful
and learn
business
from. That's right. Learn from whatever mistakes
model.
Cornwall made along the way that we don't know about, but you do because you were further on the inside with Cornwall. All of that. This woman
Sure.
has created a brand, Sister Locks, and it is sustaining. It is there. It ain't moving. Of course, to me, it's a junkie behind community. They are aggressive. They are abrasive. They are mean. They are all kinds of stuff. But hey, they are Sister Locks, and it is
One of the things
staying
I've
that
said
way.
about them is they need a better branding. That's what I've said. They need better
But my Sister
branding.
Locks,
Yes, they need
oh,
a better. When I
absolutely.
say better branding, they need better brand representatives because
Yes.
there
Oh.
should be a script when a person calls you and they're looking to get there. There should be a script, and I think there is actually. I think there is some format that the Sister Locks technicians are supposed to be using to have these conversations because sometimes um, I just don't think some of the people I've spoken to are representing the brand as Joanne Cornwall has ideally wanted it to be. But there's two points I want to make. One is that everybody is not balling at the crown. All right. Now I
Mm-hmm.
know people are saying that
Mm-hmm.
sister like wearers. Some people are not. It's
Mm-hmm.
not everybody that's having this issue. And I know I'm not mistaken, but I do think that Melissa even made that claim that Sister Locks is not good for your hair long term. That's not everybody's story. That's not
Right.
everybody's testimony
Right.
because everybody has a different grade of hair. Some people are doing quite well. They're not balding. They're not losing locks and da 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 da. So we have to keep that in mind. We also have to keep in mind that some of the negative things that Melissa has said about the Joanne Cornwall, and another person brought this up, and I hadn't even thought about it. Some of the negative things that Melissa Blake has said about the Joanne Cornwall brand is now being said about her. She's kind of almost reaping what she has been sowing, and that I don't think that Melissa needed to tear down the Sister Lock brand in order to build her own brand up. Because I think this knotted locks is such a craze that it could have gone all by itself.
Hey, I don't know what happened, but on my end, we started buffering and I heard nothing. So I hope that
Oh,
the viewers did. You went,
oh.
I heard you say was some of the things that Cornwall, and then it went out from there.
So as essentially what I was saying was that Melissa came in strong against Sister Locks. She
Uh-huh.
came in hard against Sister Locks. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that because knotted locks is such a novel idea that maybe people have been using, but nobody's been talking about on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
that Melissa has started this wonderful conversation around.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessary to come against the Sister Lock brand, I think.
Right.
And I
Well,
think that she may have had more. she may have had more inclusiveness if she had respected the brand and respected what Joanne Cornwall was trying to do for us, and then use that as a launching pad for what she's doing for what Melissa is doing for us now.
Well, I'm going to interject and say this. I'm in several lock communities, and when you start talking about different things, you'll have instantaneously a sister lock person, a member of the sister lock community, is going to come in and say something so egregious and so parsnippity that it's just totally ridiculous. And I think that it always, because they say the same stuff, it almost sounds like their hairstylists are being trained to say certain things to people when they're in their chair that they want to use as a standard in the sister locks community. And so those people just regurgitate that stuff to the rest of us. Like, have someone, while she's doing my hair, she's talking about, yes, because this is what God made us all to natural beauty, blah blah blah. But here's the thing: if you have a grid in your head, you weren't born with that. You weren't born fried, dyed, and laid to the side at all. So this is not how God made us. And he just made us with some loose hair. So let that hair do what it's going to do and see what that looks like. I'm sure it won't look like this. So we're still grooming like anyone else.
That's a problem.
Yes, we're still, but I when it comes to the balding in the top or anywhere at all with sister locks, I don't think that it's necessarily tiny locks, a tiny locks issue. And in one of my videos, I was like, is it the tool or is it the grid? Because I've heard so much about the grid, and I've seen so many women who with very short hair say, I just let my hair go, and it went into its own little families, little communities. The hair just starts to group together itself. So that may be the more natural way to do it, and that could have something to do with it. But we are using grids. Grids are locked in, and that's that. But I think that another issue may be that with sister locks, they don't care who they're training. And you can't take a nurse who has no real working knowledge of hair care, as she's probably never done her own hair all her life, and teach her and expect her to know about hair care, because she's not. She's only going to know about sister locks, or if she does micro lock training, she's only going to know about micro locks, installing the process.
I I agree with you to a certain extent. I'm not sure about that.
Well, wait. The other part of what I'm saying is, if this person has hair care knowledge, then they know what they're looking at when things start going wrong in your hair. If they don't have hair care knowledge, then they don't really know. Like, how your stylist said, hey, you're going to be going bald. And didn't say anything else. Didn't say anything else. I think she didn't say anything else because A, she wanted to keep you coming in there with that money. And B, she didn't know what else to do.
No, not this young lady. This young lady, remember I told you this young lady was sincere. This loctician was sincere.
I'm not speaking to her sincerity. I'm saying if she didn't know how else to help you.
But I never got that she just wanted me to come for the money. I never got that. She never. No, I never.
Well, that's good.
I never got that from her. And as far as the people, I mean, the more you know about any topic, the more proficient you're going to be in it. So if you're working with hair, and you should get all the training you could possibly get. But I think what's important is that Joanne Cornwall introduced to us something that we never had before, and something that gave us a different look other than the traditional lock look that maybe other people didn't want. Maybe other people didn't want a larger, thicker lock, and those. But
tiny locks were already in existence.
Tiny locks were.
Yes, she gave us a tool. She gave us a tool and a grid. That's what she gave us.
That's true. But but and that's so true. But what she created was a brand. She created a brand that
Mm-hmm.
had brand recognition, that
Mm-hmm.
gained respect. Not only that, that had a model similar to that of Madam C.J. Walker, which enabled women to, right from their own homes, earn a nice amount of money,
It was genius.
on a daily and weekly basis. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a part of what she was trying to do too, was that she was helping our community, our African
Mm-hmm.
American women, go into a business that can help pay bills, which is
But
what we need.
the flaw to me is that you, anytime you start doing hair, you need to have a working knowledge of hair care, and not everyone does.
Well,
So
that's right.
everybody that she's training is not going in knowing what this scalp looks like it's getting too dry, or this is an irritation from me pulling too tight, or all those little things. They don't know. What they do know is what they were taught in the class about creating the grid and creating the look. They do know that, and they have that perfect, but they don't know about hormones, or all those things that all my aunties who've been in salons forever, that's my background, they don't have any of that working knowledge. So they're
Some
limited to
don't.
just
Some
what
don't.
they, yes, some of them. That's what I'm saying to you, is some
Yes,
of them.
yes.
But
Yes, it's true.
everyone that she's training. So I for me, I want to think that most of the women who have experienced the hair loss, many, let me make sure I say this right. Many of the people who are experiencing the hair loss, and it's not due to hereditary or medication issues, and they're saying, oh, it's the locks, sister locks took my hair out.
Mm.
It may not just be sister locks as much as the person who's performing the service didn't have a working knowledge of how to circumvent this issue, or to see ahead of time that, hey, you're gonna have this problem, like how your clients, elect your loctician said you're gonna be balding. She could see it, but others may genuinely not be able to see, may
For
genuinely
sure.
not know that I should join these locks right here, because that wasn't taught to me. They're going just as a machine on what they were taught to do. And so when you come in, they're doing just what they know and nothing else. And that could cause a problem. So I think in that sense, sister locks may be getting a little a little more ridicule than they should, the brand itself. But the fault still lies with Sister Locks, in that a great portion of the class, and I don't know because I've never taken the class, a great portion of the class should be hair care and identifying way ahead of time what this problem could be. Looking at a head and saying, no, I know you want Sister Locks, and I know the number for Sister Locks is around 400, but we're going to have to do 315 in your hair.
And you know what? I think at this point, this would be a good place to have another disclaimer,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not hair, at least me. I know Kobe has some experience. I am not a hair care professional.
Right.
I am not a sister lock loctician. I am not a knotted lock DIYer. I don't know anything about Melissa Blake's process. And I'm gonna tell you something else. I don't know anything about the sister locks process other than what little information that I received over the past 2.5 years working with my loctician.
Same here. I just know about hair care.
This is just our opinion
Opinion.
about these processes.
Mm-hmm.
So we are not subject matter experts on any of these brands, but we're
Right.
just giving opinions. And with opinions, everybody has one.
Has one. Has one. Indeed. I like that. Hey, you have said some really good stuff. I think that your background in counseling showed
Coaching,
here.
coaching,
Coaching.
coaching.
Okay. Coaching showed here this morning in some very profound things that I had to high five you virtually on,
Thank you.
because you were right on point, and I think that you were right on point for anyone on either side of the lock situation. Put it that way, or the situation with Tanisha and Melissa. You were right on point. Like I wish that more people could hear what I think. You should make a video with just that info. You know, when you were talking about the business model and
Yes, yes, yes.
that was profound for me to have
Thank
someone
you. I appreciate
actually
that.
verbalize, you know, what I'm thinking and be right there in the middle and saying this, hey, y'all need to do this a little,
Yes, yes. It's,
it,
it's
it
enough
helps.
money out here for everyone. And I think that when and I'm not saying that either one of them are trying to grab for the money. I'm just saying that things could be done differently. And I, I think it's also important that, even though we have our opinions about the Sister Lock brand and everything that has transpired over the years, this is this is a foundation that people have built on. You
Mm-hmm.
can't tear your foundation down.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to stand on a foundation,
Mm-hmm.
eat from a foundation, and then destroy the foundation.
That's right.
You can't. You can't last. You can't. You cannot be successful. Destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. I'll bring it. I'll make it even simpler. Bring it close to home. We could look at our parents, right? And we could,
Mm-hmm.
those of us who had fairly decent parents, let's say that, we could pick
Mm-hmm.
out all kinds of mistakes they made raising us, all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things they told us that maybe shouldn't have told us, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe things they should have told us they didn't tell us. But this is my foundation. This is why I am who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So if I destroy by picking apart and tearing down the people who did their best to hold me up,
Mm-hmm.
what does that make me? What do
Right.
I become? And Melissa and both Tunisia are standing on the foundation and the shoulders of Joanne Cornwall.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what I do know from a spiritual point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You tear folks down, it won't be long before you get torn down. You don't last. And maybe this is why
Say it.
Melissa's
Say
in the
it.
place she's in right.
Say it.
You can't do it. You can't tear down your foundation. I wouldn't have all this beautiful hair if it wasn't for some sister like technician coming to my house,
Mm-hmm.
doing my hair in the comfort of my kitchen.
Now, I
I
don't know the
appreciate that.
story between them. I know something. I have not researched to know the story between with Melissa Blake and Sister Locks, but just from the small bit that I've gathered, there was some trauma there too. I don't know what she did to tear her down. I have no idea. Hmm.
I don't
Maybe I
know.
should
I don't
research
know.
that.
All I know is that she has a not a lot brand, which is I think phenomenal. She had better marketing. This thing could be really big because
Mm-hmm.
you got people. If she wanted to train folks, you got neighborhood braiders who need to know about this, so they can expand their business model in the braid shop. Like I went to a braid shop, just I was passing out something, and they saw my locks and they said, we do interlocking. And I said, oh yeah, what tool do you use? So they use the one you use to weave, right?
Crochet hair. Uh-huh.
Right. So I said, oh, okay. I said, have you heard about knots and locks or not a lock? Don't have a clue about it. So there's a whole source of untapped resources and branding that can be done. Um, and Joanne Cornwall, she did it. She said, "Listen, you're not going to sell my brand in your shop because I'm gonna sue you."
Yep.
And
And
I
she
remember
sued. And she did.
I went to a sister, I went to a branding a braid shop, and I said, "Do you do sister locks?" Oh no, don't even mention sister locks to us. She said, "Oh no, we don't do that. I don't want to get sued." So there is a way to market and brand your product so that you can make it your own. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to have mistakes and holes in it? Yes. But we've got to start thinking more business minded instead of this personal cattiness that we like to do. We got to think about business. People making money because they're thinking about business, not about persons or people. You know, this is why you got a nail shop, two on every block. In my I live in a big city. There's a nail shop, two on every block where we live, where the African Americans live. Okay, because people are thinking about business. So we got to get back to what's important. And what's important is thinking about business. All this old stuff about he say, she say, and all this old foolishness. We ain't got time for that if we want to make money.
Dashing Nurse is saying, hi, Charmaine.
Hey.
She says, I don't think a nurse was a good example of evidence of our, let me see. I don't think a nurse was a good example as evidence by our extensive knowledge regarding anatomy and physiology. I even gave Melissa advice regarding KL from the medical aspect. And I want to say to you, my point was a person who, because I said a nurse who doesn't have a working knowledge of hair care. A nurse or anyone who does not, I'm not saying nurses don't know how to do hair or nurses don't know about anatomy. That has nothing to do with the point in this conversation is a person who does not know about hair care, and your experience in anatomy does not make you a good hair care person. I mean, those are different. Yeah. Okay. What else was I gonna? There was something else I was gonna say. Yeah, I think you should make a video on that, though. You know, and maybe a series so that people.
Oh, well. Oh my goodness.
We have just now. Well, think we did a good job today.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about before?
I think so. I think it was a great conversation. No, I think this was a great conversation, and I think that there's so much to be grateful for, right? When I look at my hair, when I look at my hair, I say, Lord, I thank you, because I didn't know what was going to happen to my hair. I thought my hair was just going to, I thought I was going to lose my hair. I thought that it would never look nice all the time. You know, I just always had so much agita when it came to my hair. And so I am grateful for every voice out there who has brought me to this place. And I think that maybe, just maybe, this is what we're missing in these conversations that we're having throughout the internet. We're missing gratitude. Now, I don't know if this is a long-term solution for me, but I'm going to continue as long as I can. You know, I mean, one of the mothers at my church used to say, tongue and teeth fall out. So, you know, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the Camille Rose products and the products that I've used. And I'm not, nobody's paying me to mention their names, but I'm just telling you, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this experience. My husband loves it. I love it. Everybody loves it that sees it, you know. And I just dyed it with the Garnier Olia because it was grayish black, and I couldn't stand it. It was just, I hated it. And my little niece said to me, Auntie, this would look so nice if we would just get some color in it. And so I did color it eventually. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. Hair's growing. I call Kendra Kinshay my big sister. She that's the hair I want. I ain't gonna never have it, but that's the hair I want. Somebody wants my hair. Look, Kobe, somebody wants your hair.
That has the little bob, and she just did her daughter's hair. You know, she cut her hair into the bob, and she flat ironed her locks. And you know what I'm talking about?
No. I gotta check that one out.
And now she's twisting her locks at the roots. I wish I could say her name. I like her.
And then, wait a minute,
I post her videos a lot.
What about the girl? Excuse me. the young lady who is crazy glue in her hair. I love her. I don't know her name, but I love her. And but I recognize when after she does her hair, she said twice a year or something like that. When she pulls her hair out, right, to show you her new growth, all that stuff is strong. Her hair ain't like
So
mine.
so
All
let
that
me
stuff,
say this.
her stuff is
Let me say
strong.
let me say this. What she's doing is the equivalent of putting a knot in. She's just doing it with the glue
I
instead
guess
of
you're
tying
right.
the knot.
Yeah.
It's the same. And
Yes.
so for
That's
those of
true.
you who are worried about that crazy glue, let me tell you how to get it out. I was explaining this to Charmaine before. It's the same thing that the surgeon did for the woman who put all the gorilla glue in her hair. What removes crazy glue is acetone, just acetone, and it's not going to damage
Mm.
your hair to put it in, and it'll break down that adhesive. That's what that man did to save you. If you go back to some of the videos where he's pouring this liquid onto her hair,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
acetone. In the OR, he's pouring liquid on her hair. That's acetone. That's
Now,
what he's
why do you
doing.
have to put her to
Acetone
sleep
breaks
though?
down.
Why do you have to put her to sleep?
I don't know, maybe for the grand view of it all, or maybe the
Oh,
pulling that he had to do in her hair, or something like,
oh,
the aesthetics
yeah.
most likely.
Yes, yes,
But
yes. I understand.
yep, acetone will take it out. Now I get that from my years of doing eyelash extensions, and the
Mm.
adhesive that we use on the semi-permanent eyelash extensions, the one hair applied to one of
Mm-hmm.
yours, that adhesive is close to crazy glue. It is almost the
Mm.
same. It doesn't have quite the smell to it because it's a medical grade adhesive. But
Okay.
when our tools, our tweezers, get messed up with the adhesive, the way we take it off is by swimming it around in acetone. Just
Wow.
wait it around in there, it comes off.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Mhm. So if you're a person who tried it and you want to take the glue out, yeah. And also
Acetone.
they make that glue in a black looking color. So
Mm.
yeah, you can try that instead of the actual crazy glue. Go get the eyelash adhesive in black in the little
Mm.
bottles, and I bet it's gonna work just the same. Mhm.
Mm. See,
But
look at that.
yeah, so
All
it's
kinds
equivalent to
of,
tying a knot. That's all she's doing, is she's knotting that one spot with crazy glue.
that's what she's doing.
Yep.
That's what she's doing, and I love it. I love to watch her. But she has a different texture of hair,
Hmm.
than I do, and I know
Hmm.
that. I can't. No. Mm-mm. I
Hmm.
can't wait 6 months
Yeah,
because I'll
that's a
have all
long
my
time.
locks. They'll be all hanging on string. So we're not gonna do that.
For me now, when I go like 3 weeks, which is probably the longest I've gone without tightening something, because I have hand in hair real bad. So I'm always going in, and if it get this far out, it ain't been 3 weeks, but it's this far out from shampooing, because I
Mm-hmm.
shampoo every other week. I go ahead and tighten
Oh,
it back up.
yeah,
Um,
nice,
yeah, but
nice
but what I
growth.
don't
Actually.
do is I don't
Mhm.
tighten it all the way to the scalp. I got
Okay.
that from Tanisha Ali.
Yep.
Tanisha Ali was the one who said you can tighten your hair more often, but don't make it really tight at the roots, because that's where the problem comes in. That's where all the breaking, and I agree with that woman when that was I'm fine. Let me go ahead and pull my hair
Yep.
back up. Um, but when I go just that period where the hair is that far out and I need to tighten it, I do. Thank you so much, Tanisha Ali, for that knowledge. I done lost my train of thought.
Listen, let me tell you something. We have had a robust conversation, and I knew we would. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you, Kobe, for just suggesting this, and not just
Yes.
suggesting it, but making it
Thank
happen.
thank you for agreeing to
Yes.
come on. I think that, a lot of what was said today will clear up some things that'll help some other people along the
Yes.
way. It's gonna help
Yes.
Tanisha and Melissa if they just listen with an open mind. Because you said some good.
Yes.
Hmm. Kudos
Thank
to
you.
my
Thank
first
you.
live.
Yeah, girl. You did it. You
Okay.
did it.
Well,
All
let's do it
right.
again. Okay.
We got to.
Bye.
Bye bye.